And mummers and dancers and dialogue too.
There are stools and mugs and barrels.
And chorus and children and crew.
There are personal props in abundance. And sometimes a chicken or two.
Tie it up in a plot.
Put it all in a pot.
And we'll
cook up a Revels stew.
But some of the things that we're going to talk about, I think may be of interest. And I think what we're going to do is to take this show, you know, out of the 41 shows, including this one, that constitute the Revels history, and see if we can sort of work our way back into what the pattern is when we put together a show.
Is we work with an amateur cast and an amateur chorus and children, and so the temptation is to think it's a community theater, and we have to remind people that it's not community theater. It captures the best of community chorus and community theater in the sense that we work with people who are passionate about what they're doing on stage, and we hope that reads. We hope that you can tell that from the audience. But it also involves a lot of professionals right at the core of the organization, making this beautifully lit, beautifully costumed, beautifully amplified, you know, stuff that you might last more than any other is how do you decide on a theme? And that's easy. It's easy to come up with a theme. There are so many themes out there, you just have to go pluck one off the tree. And, the problem is how you're going to develop that theme and whether you're really committed to following through and making it happen. Because along with a theme, you always have to consider two other things simultaneously, and that is an artist who can represent that theme, that culture that you've chosen to represent, and the material that that artist will bring with him or her, and it may be several artists. And it's almost always the case that those things go hand in hand. We identify a theme and then we say, who are we going to get to do this for us and with us? And this is what we call a tradition.
There's certain things in the Revels which are traditions of their own, that have become Revels traditions. And we sort of think of them as touchstones. Things like the Lord of the Dance at the end of the first act, the Sussex Mummers Carol, the Shortest Day, you know, various other things which are there every year, and people expect them to be there, and that's part of the pleasure of coming, because you'll see it in a different, slightly different setting, but you know that it's always going to be there. If you put all those things together, and you put all the new music together, there's precious little time to develop any kind of a story, or certainly characters. You know, the traditional way of dealing with theatre is that you have to present characters, you have to give them something to do, you have to put an obstacle in the way, you have to develop the characters, you have to solve the problem, and you have to have a resolution. Well, we got like three pages.
We did this so-called Celestial Fools production in 1991. And it's interesting to compare what we did then to what we're doing now.
What we said was, we have a 5-year plan. We create shows and we say, okay, we'll do it in 2011. We're going to do the Three Fools. Perfect. Piece of cake. There's the script.
Yeah.
Script?
Yeah.
But you saw that, but it was full of, we were supposed to be in France, or we were supposed to be in Europe somewhere, and yet it was all English music. I thought, what? I started to look at it and I thought, wait a minute, can't we sort of replace all this with European music? There's so much, because besides, we're visited by 3 mysterious visitors from the East, which we love. We love that part. We can throw that out. We're going to do that again with different visitors. But what would they be doing in England anyway? So I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch. So it was much more credible. We're looking for a little more credibility, I'd say.
Is what remains the same. And really, it's the abstraction of every Revels, which is that the light is taken away. Or, you know, the solstice is about anxiety about the light disappearing. And all of the feasts which are clustered around that time of the year, you know, owe something to the idea that this is a very cold, nasty time of the year, and please, could you remember to turn the lights on again so that we, you know, I mean, whoever it is up there or whatever it is, could you make sure that we have sunshine and food next year? So there's a lot of that kind of free-floating anxiety there. And the story, as it was in 91, was that 3 fools were given the responsibility for looking after the turning of the year, right? This important time when you had to sort of get through to the new year.
Well, there are some spectacular moments in this show. And let me just say, what creates a spectacular moment is when you get a wonderful piece of music like Lumma Lumma Lumma, as arranged by Jerry Epstein, recorded by us 20 years ago, and now being performed again by us. Fantastic piece of music, beautifully executed and beautifully staged, so that the sum of the parts, no, how do we say this? The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. We're really creating a new kind of a scene that nobody could ever have imagined except for